Paradigm Review Show. Welcome to the channel. PXF, like, sub, share. Memberships below, right next to the join button. Subscribe to Gaz at Moss Shinobi. Tons of other updates and channel updates and film news. I did see a couple things. I saw one. Well, obviously, rest in peace to our boy Apollo Creed. But I saw there was a couple other passings, though. I'm sure they'll come up as
Carl Weathers,
Carl
yeah,
Weathers, of course,
R.I.P.
and then there was a few more I saw. Anyway,
Billy Gossett Jr. Rest in
what?
peace.
Yeah, for sure. What brings us here today is the old Roadhouse 2024. Of course, like you guys have all heard of the legendary Patrick Swayze piece from the 80s. This is the reimagination, directed by Doug Liman, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. It's on Amazon Prime. A lot of controversy about how the director was going to boycott the release because it went to streaming only. I don't know if you guys caught any of that chatter on the internet. Ultimately, it was all for nil. So
I didn't.
Huh? Yeah. So we got our boy Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a lot of behind the scene things, and then what went down at South by Southwest, where Conor and Jake were at the premiere. You guys can. One thing I like about this is there's a lot of interviews with Conor and Jake. They even did like sneaker shopping on Complex, and they did basically every big channel. I think Conor was on GQ. I'd say just Google those or YouTube them, guys, if you want some more behind the scenes of talking about how Conor got involved, because that's a big deal. This is the first film that the UFC has ever officially co-signed, allowed the Hollywood cameras in the UFC octagon. Little personal story. I don't know if you guys both know this, if you remember it, but when I went to that last John Jones fight, Gaz, in Vegas, that's when Jake came in the octagon and they did those sequences.
Oh,
they said
nice.
it was supposed to be a previous event, and obviously that was not part of the UFC live stream, because they kind of kept it a secret, like, they were in there filming the sequences, and then obviously those scenes are in the movie, for those of you who's seen it, like us three. So technically I'm in Roadhouse, guys. I'm in the UFC stadium sequences. You can't see the little speck of me and my boys up in the nosebleeds back there, Mac, but that was when John Jones sat Gon down and subbed him. But it was cool to see Jake in there. Jake was sitting with Conor, and they showed them on the big screen, so you could see that they were chilling, and then obviously, like, Jake put the gloves on, he went in. So you could tell there was something going on. It was like, all right, this is obviously the movie, because what else would they be doing there?
I mean,
based on
those screenshots of the octagon, I think I knew where you were sitting at.
yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. I didn't try to do the freeze frames and pause it and look for myself yet, but anyway, it's way too far back. A synopsis: ex-UFC fighter Dalton takes a job as a bouncer at the Florida Keys Roadhouse, only to discover that this paradise is not at all what it seems. So the 80s film is a legendary bouncer meathead action movie starring Patrick Swayze, as we said, and the style he implements, as Max said, is Tai Chi, when he takes out all these douches that he fights, which takes place in the Deep South in Missouri. This one's relocated to the Florida Keys. It's obviously shot in the Dominican Republic. I don't think I have any much more background than that, guys, or any comparisons that you guys have of OG versus 2. And before Lauren, our friend of the channel, Lauren Lapre, sees this, I just want to extend the invitation to come do the Roadhouse OG with us. Lauren is the creator of the short film on YouTube, Saturday Night Thing. It's a Saturday night thing. Go check that out. We'll link his stuff here. Lauren probably stopped watching at this point, and he's probably going to kill me for doing this review. So anyway, guys, any other comparisons that you guys have between 1 and 2, or any initial impressions of Roadhouse 2024?
Well, I'm already curious to check out actually Roadhouse 2, Last Call from 2006, just to do a comparison
about it on the internet. Yeah.
So which looks delightfully awful from the cover. So, but Mac, did you want to come in with anything? Because my mind's just evaporated on me.
That was quick.
It was, wasn't it?
Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, man.
Audio's cool.
Yeah.
Your screen's a little choppy, but your audio's good.
I don't know what's up with the visual, man.
Just keep it rolling.
Very strange right now. But anyway, the comparisons, there can be quite a few comparisons, like Dalton's background story on both of them. The character, how it's portrayed, it's not like the one in the first one. It was charismatic. In this one, it was more he was more like going through something, you could tell he was going through something deep right now. And they didn't really explain too much of why he was depressed and all that. That's why I didn't get. But other than that, though, you could see sort of a laid back character. He was cool, in the new one
Yeah.
and all that. He was trying to like pick off some certain like elements of the old character, I mean, not the old character, the old movie,
The original
and
character, yeah.
yeah, the character in the old movie, and then putting it into the new one. But he wants to do his own take. I obviously see that,
Hmm. Hmm.
but other than that, just by the Dalton character and based off like what he was, his combat experience and him getting into the bouncing scene and all that other stuff. It's
Yep.
yeah, man, it's definitely a whole different take. But the concept you can tell is pretty much the same. And they just pretty much having fun on this movie.
Agreed. That's how I took it as well. So just a quick response to that, Mac. I mean, full disclosure, guys, I just finished watching a second watch, so I'm gonna give you guys both takes, like what I thought the first watch through initially, and then like what I picked up on this second watch, because I wanted to take a closer look at those fight sequences that me and Mac were talking about. Of course, Conor McGregor, MMA superstar, legend. To remind you all why we're here today, especially Gaz himself, I'm a massive Conor McGregor fanboy, so just to remind the
Never knew that.
just to remind the PXF audience, and of course this helps me and Gaz tap into our Unleashed Irish side. So they did explain some of that, Mac, in the origin story through the flashbacks when he kept going to sleep at night and he kept having the reoccurring nightmares of what happened.
Yeah.
That was kind of their way of, and then also that villain Brandt, who kind of semi controlling manipulator villain, shady businessman. He rubs it in his face at the bar when he shows him the YouTube video.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the explanation of like why he was dealing with the kind of PTSD, post-traumatic stress.
I mean,
that Mac was referring to.
Okay,
They didn't go
get
deep
though.
into it. Don't get me wrong. They didn't go deep into it, but they threw you those hints and they brushed over it. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay then. I mean,
In my opinion.
I saw that part at least, but it was just trying to like piece it all together and understand, But
For sure. Yeah.
other than that though, yeah, it's pretty. I guess they pretty much I somewhat explained it.
I picked it up better on the second watch, like as I was just saying, like because with you on the first watch, I'm like kind of like, yeah, this dude is kind of moping around, and Jake plays the nonchalant, version of Dalton, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know, we can come in like right off the bat. So it comes in, so like real quick, we'll talk about the music because I feel like that's like a big part of like a roadhouse, like a fight bar, like Gaz was saying. Once again, I feel like me and Gaz say this about a lot of movies. Huge missed opportunity on the music. Like with the cover bands, you could have had them playing like, I mean, I know it's hard to get the rights of songs and blah, 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 but I'm not even sure how that works with cover bands. But you could have played like more upbeat, like, I know me and Gaz always suggest metal, which I think would have made sense for the fights. But since it's like a bar-y atmosphere, you could have still came up with like classic rock, like she was doing Sublime at one point, and just some of the stuff. This is really Gaz's point, and he can weigh in. He was the first one to mention this, but it really didn't seem to fit with the scenes at all, in my opinion. Now they did. Doug Liman does get a couple bangers in on the score, particularly the Conor Jake ending Jake fight, which I'm sure you noticed what that was, Gaz. Obviously Metallica.
Yeah,
so he showed he was capable of listening to metal and even implementing it in a scene where it fit super well.
Yeah, but that cover of it was awful, to be honest.
Sure.
It's Enter Sandman, folks. One of the most well-known Metallica songs ever. But in fairness, they might not have had the rights to it because it would have probably cost a ridiculous amount of money to feature that. But there is numerous cover versions of it by other bands that probably would have worked better than this crappy kind of EDM-esque version, which just didn't seem to flow.
And nonetheless, that was probably the best cover in the movie. So if that's what Gaz thinks of that, it does. Again, this is nitpicking. This would go into our nitpicking category, but it's just in my opinion. And it also becomes more apparent on the second watch. Because like I remember when I watched it the first time, like, Mac was saying you're entertained enough to just come along for the ride. But like I remember thinking like, dude, some of these songs are kind of brutal. So I went back and I looked up. The first movie's like an hour and 54 minutes. This one's like 2:03. Especially some of those dialogue-y, drawn-out scenes between Jake and the love interest, that nurse. We'll call him Dalton for sake of not breaking the third wall for you guys. That nurse. Some of those scenes move particularly slow. Like, I remember thinking that on the first watch, but on the second watch, I was like, dude, I was telling you guys earlier, I would cut out 30, 40 minutes of this and make it a fight movie, because by far, like Max said, the best scenes are the bar fights, even some of the Conor McGregor technical moves. One thing I really like, if you guys are on the platform X, it's probably on YouTube as well, Amazon shared a bunch of stuff of Jake and Conor choreographing the fights side by side with the actual fight sequence. So it was kind of cool to see them just like, and Conor's throwing the 360 backwards roundhouse, the back kick, and just them doing the combos. And it did give it a little bit more, authenticity, in my opinion, just because I'm a UFC MMA fanboy, so it wasn't really hard to win me over from the start. If other you people, don't watch UFC at all, like, it's fine. You don't need to for any reason. Conor just comes in as a random Irish, foreign European psychopathic villain. But again, we should mention this is not the first time like UFC stars have been in movies. Of course, like, Woodley was in the Escape Plan 2. I think it was that one with Atkins and Mario Van Peebles, Mac. Atkins fought Uriah Hall from the UFC. Of course, Gaz knows Bisping has done a number of acting roles, of Bisping being the, one of the MMA, UK legends of all time, along with Conor, champion. So, I don't know, but none of those guys are at the status of Conor McGregor, who has the first crossover fight with Floyd Mayweather, $400 million, billion dollar, whiskey empire, and then just, a multi-belt UFC champion.
There was another cameo which I wondered if you were really thrilled about, and you're still recovering from the shock. Post Malone. I mean, that must have been up there.
I'm getting into it. So let's get into how the movie starts. So it comes right in.
Man, do not mention that man's name again.
It comes right in with this whack.
I'll be here for now.
It comes right in with this whack Post Malone song, which they decide to bring back at the end. I thought that was another missed opportunity. Like, okay, I know he gets the product placement because he's in the movie, but he comes in as a pit fighter. Dude, like, bro, Posty, you're my man. I love the Raising Cane's collab you did, but if I was a rapper that was like drinks Bud Lights and smokes butts like Post Malone does, and I'm gonna do an off-shirt pit fight scene, like, I'm gonna lift some weights for like 2 or 3 months before the movie, and this dude like came in there looking like he never got off his couch. I mean, I get that was the role. It was like the Hickey, Montana backwoods Hickey pit fighter guy, but
the Triller Trash type.
Yeah, right. And then, and their whole thing was like, we wanted to get some recognizable faces. So we got Post in there. I'm like, well, you had like Conor and Jake Gyllenhaal. Those are pretty recognizable faces. Why are we reaching for just random, like, off the bench rappers, like Gaz said, bench warmer rappers?
Man. Did you? But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to because I know we were talking about the music earlier, but I wanted to interject something. They definitely should have put like the metal, something more hardcore, like metal, like you said. And you maybe a little bit of classic rock. Like they could have thrown like even something that was relating to fighting, like Rolling Stones street fighting.
Dude, how did they miss that?
That would have been perfect.
It had to be the rights. It had to be the rights. What I just sent Wall Street, who's been on the Fast review with us. Have you ever seen that movie, Mac? Just because you brought that up with Norm Macdonald and Chris Farley.
And I got it.
Yeah. He's like, you better play something sick for this bar site. He's like, oh yeah, Rolling Stones, G7. Like, dude, you just hit G8, and it's like, pina colada. That's me. That's one of me and Max. It's Always Sunny songs. He played.
That's my movie, bro. I love that.
He played
movie.
Do You Like Peanut? What's it called again?
Dirty Work.
Dirty Work. He played the Pina Colada song during bar fight. Hilarious. What up, Pixie? I don't know if you caught the 2024 reimagination of Roadhouse, but we're talking
what up, Pixie?
OG Roadhouse. We're talking 2024 Roadhouse. Of course, you'll be happy because we're talking MMA. It's got our boy Conor McGregor in there from Ireland, laddie. It comes in with Posty. Later on, we get another cameo, Mac, of the biker gang. Our boy JD Pardo from Mayans. I know you recognize him, Mac.
God, yo. let me talk about this one real quick right here.
This dude looks around.
I was looking at this guy and I'm like, oh man, Easy from Aztecs. Oh man, crazy.
He's gonna be so badass.
Yo, he got treated like a total freaking high school bully, just getting
doormat,
just desserts. Like this dude was getting slapped around. He tried to roll around in the Midas circle, like, yeah, you know, remember me from Aztecs? And then you still get his freaking molly whopped all over the place by Jake.
Slapped
so
up
funny.
his whole squad got. Yeah, hey, Pixie has a strict policy on it. Looks like she's in the Lauren boat. Only Roadhouse is a Swayze Roadhouse. That's how I feel about Point Break, Pixie. That's how I feel about Point Break.
Pixie.
That's how I feel about. That's how I feel about Point Break, and OG Roadhouse review coming soon. OG Point Break review coming soon. And OG
but other than that, though, man, like it was just funny just seeing him like switch from being a badass in one thing, and then you see this movie, and it's like he's a good actor.
Being the B word. No, he's a badass dude. I mean, I think they just chose him because he's built. He has the look. He's a biker dude. You know what I mean?
Like he looks like a face that you could punch. And you want to punch it.
It's a perfect, mixed road baddie. So it goes down. I mean, if you guys have seen the first one, it's not much of a dissimilar plot, right? Dalton shows up. He's gonna train the local bouncers how to handle the roadhouse because it's too out of control from so many drunken lunatics fighting in there. So I mean. As far as all those scenes go, I think they move pretty good as far as like the bar fights, like we were saying. One comment I did see is like Roadhouse 2024 is like akin to Looney Tunes style action, and think how like they roll around on top of each other in the dust in Looney Tunes, and that's kind of how those CGI fights were in Roadhouse, of them rolling in and out of the camera shot, on top of the bar. And it's like once that got pointed out to me, I kind of couldn't unsee it. But we got to address our man Scott Adkins. Scotty, we love you. He's on Twitter. He's on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel. He had some criticism. He was not a fan of the CGI fight scenes, so we got to make sure that Scott's opinion gets raised for the record. So I'm not going to say he's wrong. Scott Adkins is a martial arts action, essentially guru. But I mean, you could follow either side on it. I mean, I think for me and Mac's angle, we don't like to miss anything action-wise. The last time we were talking about a new fight shooting style was probably that Accident Man, right? Accident Man 1, or I think it was Accident Man 2 we did. So this one, we could talk a little bit about it. I mean, I'm not like the big like Bourne Identity trilogy guy. Like I respect it what it is, but it's still like a PG-13 action series to me. So that's, that's not generally what we do here at PXF on PRS Paradigm Review Show. But on the second watch, I got to say there are some good shots, like when Dalton and Knox first meet. That bit when he brings in the club and does all the golfing puns. That last combo where Knox combos him out the door and does the takedown and slams him on the ground. He switches from like the side angle to like looking directly, and Conor's like fists are punching into the camera, like the first person view of like Dalton getting hit. So we spoke about this on Equalizer 3, Gaz. He had that one first person sequence. So he did some things similar to that. I'd say that's more of what we're seeing in these new school action films, the stylized action shooting. But just if you guys have anything on the film style, the fighting sequences.
The fight choreography was incredible. I mean, like
it was good.
I really liked even like when they were making contact shots, or they made it really look realistic. Like you see the dude's head bouncing on them. You know what I mean? Like it looked brutal, brutal. So that's the type of movie I was like, this is it.
Yeah, it didn't look too fake to me. I mean, as opposed to like lower budget martial arts Gaz, where the dude's fist is nowhere near from where it's supposed to be landing contact. Like
the choreography was good. The only one of the to go on, like you were saying with Scott Adkins picking up on some of the bad CGI. There wasn't many, to be fair. There's one part, spoilers alert, where Dalton is outside a bookstore. He encounters one of Brandt's guards who threatens him with a pistol. Dude's finger gets broken. That is quite bad CGI in that part. One of the other sequences I do want to mention, just for the comedy, and it's much later in the last act of the film, is when I'll just say Dalton meets one of Brandt's bodyguards. The way that guy did that, I can't say it at the moment because it's a bad word on YouTube. I'll just say hits him. The impact of like that was hardly any, but the way they showed it, I thought was really good.
Are you talking about the pool part when he falls?
No, when Dalton boards the Brandt's boat.
Yeah.
That little jab. That's I can't obviously say it on YouTube, but I'll just say the street term for a weak delivered punch. It was
just say he mashed him out, man. Bah, bah, you know what I mean?
That's just like a
For sure.
That was genius, man. That was funny. Though.
Yeah, I mean, I like what Max said. Like when Knox brings the golf club into when he's looking for Dalton.
Yes.
Hey, fellas, look like you're having a smashing time.
And he takes that for a while. Yeah.
He takes that dude's head and he smashed it on the table. I mean, when they were smashing people on tables in the bars like that, those stunt guys were good. I mean, they took those licks. Like Mac was saying, it didn't look cold.
I'll give it this. They did try to put in some of the humor from the original. I like the bands. I mean, we were talking off air, all of us, and we were saying that this could pretty much be a film in its own right, called like whack college bands with fights, brawl at the college bar, I guess. But when that whole sequence is happening with Conor, the guy with the maracas who never moves,
he doesn't get up, the old timer. So Greg had that basically with this. So he basically said, I got to hear this. My expectations are really low. I think all of us went with really low expectations, Greg, and that's what saved me and Mac. But he said, I need to know if the fight scenes are good. Is this a remake of some kind or its own original story? I mean, Conor called it a reimagination, so it's essentially its own original story. I mean, like we said, same kind of main character, kind of different villains. But I think it would be if they didn't name it Roadhouse. I would like to ask Lauren this question. If you could just, because remakes were super common, guys, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And one thing I've been talking about on, go check out my Patreon on the Zodiac research, is that Conrad book, The Most Dangerous Game. You've probably heard me talk about this, Mac, because Zodiac referenced it. But there's like a 1930s movie of that. Then there's like 3 or 4 remakes. And they're not all called The Most Dangerous Game. Like one's called Bloodlust, one's called Run for the Sun. So it's essentially the same plot and similar characters, but they don't all have the same name. So I think to Greg's point, and me and Mac were saying, if you could have just named it something else, like, hey, we're bringing in Conor, it's a kind of UFC, MMA kind of movie, and you could still have the homages to Roadhouse, and you don't have to call it Roadhouse. It just seems like
it could have been like a spiritual sequel or something.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think we all agree on that for the most part.
Yeah,
I know.
And I definitely agree with you about Conor McGregor, man. Like, let's be real. Every scene with him, he looked like he was having so much fun.
Oh, it's hilarious. I love his introduction.
He looked like a random NPC from Grand Theft Auto, and he just pops up out of nowhere.
I love
it everywhere.
Dude, he was awesome. Some of his like transition scenes, like when obviously he first comes in with like no pants on, Terminator style in Italy, as Gaz said, like ridiculous intro. I was like, where's he hiding the phone the first time? Because like he's not wearing nothing, but he had his shoes on. He took it out of his sock. Just ridiculous little details. And then obviously when he goes to get to the fights later, that I think it was the Lambo, that the yellow drop top he had when he was like had the coconuts, and he was he drove some sick cars. What up, Rick? I got something for you and Greg, Rick. I want to send you guys the Civil War trailer because it's, as Mac was saying, it's a similar concept to Gray State, so I want to show you guys that one.
Yeah, what
but we're just talking Roadhouse, Rick. Check it out on Prime. And then, of course, the Conor transitions. It just Conor's. So one thing I want to point out, Mac, I saw a speed up. What do you call those? Like a speed frame montage of how they did Conor's body ink, because of course he has the screaming gorilla on his chest, and like when people have like tattoos like that, you can't use them in movies. You know what I mean? Because there's like like copyright.
Yeah, because they don't want to. They want to distinguish like the villain from the actual act.
Exactly. So he sat for like 3 to 4 hours, and he had the big anvil thing, the battle axe on his back, guys. And they recovered all his art and redid it all. Of course, it says Knox, Knox, Knox across his chest. So I thought that was a cool. As Max said, not only was he having fun, it showed Conor's dedication to the role. Because, guys, if you don't go look up what Conor's net worth is, and go ask yourself if he needs to make a movie or if he needs to be a UFC fighter. He doesn't need to do either one of those. So as Max said, he purely did it because he's friends with Jake. What'd you think, Rick? Let us know what you think of the chat. He's friends with Jake, and he was dedicated. And he also got paid the highest debut for any non-actor in history, so I'm sure that was a factor for him. But that's still much less than what he makes off whiskey and stuff. But Conor's dedication, sitting for 3 to 4 hours just to get the artwork done. But essentially, all he's doing is fight scenes with his shirt off. So, pretty sick. You know what I mean? I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. I think Conor's hilarious personally. So.
Yeah, man. No, I think dude, he was freaking hilarious in this one.
Dude is hilarious.
I'm not expecting Conor to be an Oscar-nominated actor in this one.
He's not Marlon Brando. He's playing a meathead that's gonna fight Jake.
Total freaking nut that just wants to kill.
And then let's talk about Jake's conditioning, guys. I know you didn't think the movie was genius, but the guy was freaking in shape. You could see his workout Men's Health on YouTube.
It's not.
You know,
look, the movie was better than expected. When I saw the trailer, I thought this just looks horrible. This should have just been left alone. It's better than I thought. It's not terrible. I just don't think it's great. Personally like the first 2 acts, and then when it gets to the third, I'm just.
I don't know if anyone thinks it's great, guys. And to your point, I think that if 30-40 of dialogue filler, which was useless to the plot,
would have been cut out, would have been much better.
I think you'd have been still paying attention by Act 3 because
exactly.
For me, that's when it heated up. As Max said, Conor kind of flies in on a speedboat as a damn near cartoon character, and that I love that speedboat sequence at the end, Mac. The final Act 3 when he falls in the water, and Brent was like, he's like, oh my God, it's your boyfriend, when he was like holding on to the anchor, and he's like underwater, like they made freaking Knox look invincible because he took so much damage. He was underwater holding his breath on the damn anchor, and he climbed in on the damn boat. He just did so much like crazy Conor stuff that is like textbook.
Yeah, and there was a funny scene there where I'll just say Brent goes flying as well. That did make me laugh.
Yeah. Dude, that whole part is ridiculous, bro. And then Jake comes and slams him on the bar after that when he's already injured. It's like,
I have to agree with you. Very cartoony. It was funny. It was good.
This movie is meathead Looney Tunes on steroids. You know what I mean?
Pretty much.
Just, but yeah, missed
Well,
opportunity.
end of the day, what do you really expect from Roadhouse? You know, like even the '80s version was a little cheesy. You know? What I mean? Like,
of course. Yeah, no, it's not like you said.
I mean, the guy that was supposedly playing the villain in equivalent to Knox in the old one.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, he wasn't really much. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't really find anything intimidating about that guy, but the fact that he's just an asshole.
He's an ex-con prison psycho. You know.
Yeah, talks about poking guys in prison, if y'all know what I mean, but I'm not going to talk about that right there.
We'll cover that when we do that one. I'm sure Lauren will have something on that. But as far as like Conor, like as Max said, he has the physicality. You know, he looks like he would win the fights. I mean, even weight-wise, you can see that Conor clearly has 20 to 30 pounds muscle on Jake. So in a street fight, if Conor hit that dude, Conor has a 7-second knockout at UFC, guys. And that was when he was 20 pounds, 30 pounds less than what he's at now. That was a 155 belt. So as Mac was saying, dude, if Conor loaded up his biggest shot and put it on Jake's jaw, he would probably go to sleep within 5 to 10 seconds. Yet they choreographed the fights in a way that made him look realistic, and the way Max said, they built up Conor as having the imposing physicality and the fight propensity. That first skirmish we were talking about, Knox actually kind of best Dalton, spoiler alert, Knox kind of best Dalton in that first one. So you set it up as like, okay, he didn't just get slapped around like those other characters in Roadhouse OG, and he came in a little late. I would have liked Conor's introduction a little earlier personally, but I understand why they saved him because in my opinion, he was the highlight of the movie. That's what most people are saying that I've seen.
They call me Mr. Knox because I predicted it. That's what you're going to say.
I predict these things. Hi, Dalton. Predicting things.
For real, man. But Conor was that dude in this one, man. He definitely was the most entertaining part of the whole movie. So.
Yeah. We won't say how the post-credit secret scene is, but if you watch it on Prime, you should stick around. Okay, she's throwing this out there. I'm going to get you guys' things. Mike Tyson, Iron Mike the GOAT, and that poor little white boy is going to kill. Are there special rules or anything to it? So I have actually seen the rules, Pixie, and for what I've seen, it's 2-minute rounds. No winners, no judges, unless there's a knockout. So that's what I've seen.
You know what they all? I don't know if it's even true. Maybe you can clarify it. But they said like if it came to the point of Jake getting tired, that his brothers can step in and start fighting.
No. That
I was about to say.
First of all,
where that came from.
They should allow that because it would be literally hilarious if Tyson slept them both in the first or by the second round. I mean, that would be the funniest, viralist. There's the word viral didn't even close. But now I heard about those fake rules. That was all BS, Mac. Pixie, is my sound
epidemic right there?
Yeah, bro. Pixie, is my sound good? I tried to turn up my sound a little bit. Rick and Pixie, let me know if my sound is good. But yeah, I know. Anything else you guys had on Act 2 or Act 3? Like I said, I mean, so it's down in the Keys. I don't know if you know this, Gaz. I was just in Florida a couple months. Most of my family lives down in Florida on my dad's side. I've been down to the Keys before, so I do like the backdrop of like the Florida. You know what I mean? Like a lot of that stuff works, and some of Doug Liman's shots of just the beach, you know, the water, the beaches, the ocean, the landscapes. I like the boating stuff. You know, I'm a nautical guy. I like boating, so it was cool to see. You know, even kind of like, just we'll talk Act 3, that big fight we were just talking about. When the boat kind of like, I guess Knox had the explosives or whatever. Spoiler alert. And I thought that was like a cool scene. Like they showed some brutal stuff, like when that one dude comes out of the flames, Mac, and he's like his skin's all burned and Dalton clocks. You know what I mean? Like that was pretty brutal. Like they showed some grimy stuff. So brutal. On some grindhouse stuff, a lot of the stuff moves pretty quick. And also, I also like. I want to bring up two things here, but real quick. One is how Dalton's character arc changes to like a vigilante, like you know, breaking point of how, you know, after they burn the girl's bookstore down, spoiler alert, he goes on that rampage where he pulls up at the goon's house, and then he, you know, he ends up that there's like the corrupt cops and the security guard, and how he sets him up on the beach, like and you know, he still kept like the nonchalant Gyllenhaal attitude, but he was saying like, hey, I'm afraid of how far everybody pushes me. This comes into the, you know, vigilante theme of what we promote here on the channel. I thought that's when he started to hit his stride, when he was just like, okay, started offing guys and doing what he was doing, and then he pulls up to the final boat, like you guys were talking about, and of course, Big Dick, Paz, and Brent are, you know, double crossing each other. Like, I thought that was definitely the high point of the movie, because up until then, like Gaz said, it was up and down. You know, the pacing was up and down. I mean, I can't deny that. You know. Yeah,
true. I mean, as far as the second and third act of the movie and all that, I thought it was a really good transition, basically. Like, at the end of the day, they try to keep it consistent. They try to keep it, like, not to stray off. Or I know you mentioned before about the relationship between Dalton and the nurse and all that. Yeah. And I mean, obviously there was a, you know, love interest, you know, thing that was happening in the old one. So obviously it's paying ode to that. But at the end of the day, though, I mean, I think without most of that, or giving too much time to that and all that, I think the movie would have been even more decent, just to insert like more action and more, like, you know, just more speculation of the story, you know. So yeah,
it was either that or cut out some of the slow filler. Like I said, I don't mind like a few of those scenes to establish characterization, but on my second watch, like Gaz was saying, I could see why Gaz's attention waned, because the dialogue, just like him talking to the bar owner girl in the back, you know, office, and him talking to the nurse, like, they did seem to drag on, especially in my second watch. The other thing I wanted to bring up was Roadhouse OG. I've never seen this before, Mac. They have this genre on IMDb, One Person Army. That is a pretty sick name for vigilante genre, dude. Like, so it's written right on there. So I'm just saying, like, when he went off the rails in Act 3, I feel like that's where the One Person Army genre theme, you know, achieved its apex. A little bit of Rick. He went in thinking he would hate it, but he ended up liking it. He was not a fan of Conor's acting, but he said he enjoyed it on the whole. I mean, again, you know, we're not saying Conor's an actor. We're just saying Conor's Conor, and absolutely hilarious. Some of the one-liners were hit and miss. You know, some were corny. Some of them were funny, like you guys were saying, like on the rewatch when he was like, Jake's like, or Dalton's like, "You're a crap driver," when he smashes in with the whatever that was in the Roadhouse at the end, and he's like wrong side of the road, like. That totally went over my head, Gaz. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about, because when I watched it the first time, then I was like, oh, he's saying that because he's Irish, and he's I was like, that's awesome, bro. So they worked in, and then Conor called Dalton notorious at some point. He talked about the boat being an octagon, and Dalton's like, who taught you shapes, you know? So, like, I thought their banter, and then Mac was saying the piano's out of tune. He's like, sounds fine to me.
To be honest, I felt Dalton and Knox, they absolutely stole the show when they were on screen. That was the highlight of it. Just needed streamlining a bit. Like I said, I didn't think it was terrible. It was all right. It was just okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't really have much, guys. I think you should just log on to Prime, go check it out. I like how it's the first UFC. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of his UFC background, because I thought that was the way UFC was talking about it was like, oh, we got Conor, we got Gyllenhaal, and they were like, UFC was playing it up, of course, because that's the thing to do, right, when you're the UFC. But then when, I'm not going to say, real quick, Mac, I was a little bit disappointed that they only used the UFC sequences in those flashbacks, because I thought they could have done more to say he was a UFC fighter, that's his, show his training, show how he, like, a little, even just a little montage of his career, like, his training, his rises up, and then how he got to that big fight. They could have showed more of that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like I said before, like, little things like that, they could have just added extra scenes to instead of just focusing more on
the filler dialogue. This is exactly why. Yeah, this is exactly why Denis Villeneuve just recently said that he hates dialogue because it's too TV-ish. Like when you're watching a TV show, the whole thing needs to be carried by dialogue. When you're watching a movie, it doesn't. Because you could do a lot more. Yeah. Any final thoughts that you guys have? I'm ready to go to ratings. We don't want to keep Mac all night.
No, I'm pretty much good to go to ratings, man.
You can start us off, Mac, if you have final thoughts or ratings.
No, I mean, my only final thoughts about it is, okay, I'll just say it like this. In answer to what Rick is saying, I don't think nobody expected Conor's acting to be, the greatest. And obviously, you could tell he's in this movie, he's just having fun and just showing off his moves, and that's pretty much what I expected from Conor. I'm not expecting them
Same here.
Having a tearjerker scene with him and all that. Yeah. Nah, this is more of, I'm the villain. I'm gonna come after you, and I'm gonna do my job and take you out. And the guy that played Brent, obviously, we already know who he was in the original, but in this one, he was a little forgettable. Like he didn't really seem like an intimidating character. He just seemed like an a-hole, that with money that just pays guys to do his dirty work. That's it.
He's a spoiled brat son, character.
Yeah. So end of the day, great movie, but I took it as it is, a decent watch.
Same.
Yeah, I'll say this. I saw Godzilla Kong Empire last night, and I just think this movie is okay, but it is so much better than what I had to sit through last night.
Yeah, movie versus movie. Yeah, I feel like. Yeah. No, it's not a bad comparison. For me, like, as me and Gaz talk about these kind of films, like, I'm covering it for you guys because it's new. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal, of course, is in Zodiac, so my audience should be familiar with him. You can check out the Zodiac review with myself, Mike Morford of Zodiac Speaking Podcast, and Citizen Detective, and Ned DeHaan of Black Box over there. Of course, Conor, because we've been following for a while now, and we're planning to do some. Hopefully, when Conor comes back, we might even do an MMA show. You might be interested in that. Pixie will review the whole UFC card. We've been waiting to do an MMA show for a while now, and it just haven't gotten to it. So this kind of gave us a segue into Conor coming into a movie that we can review and do that. Gaz and I call this a shut your brain off, drink a few beers, normally go to the theater off your face, light up a little bit of your tobacco cigar and drink a couple of the proper Irish 12 whiskeys, maybe a Conor Forge Irish stout, and shut your brain off. It's a popcorn movie. It's a toxically masculine meathead bar fight movie. If you watch the interviews, Conor's saying Jake has 75 movies in his resume, and Conor has 75 bar fights. So they just combine the two of them, and you get a drunken Irish sailor, which is what Conor is, an MMA superstar, versus a very, conditioned Jake Gyllenhaal. Doing his best to act in a movie that acting is really not required in. So there's some filler. Me personally, I'd cut out 30, 40 minutes. Like, this is the thing with these meathead combat fist fighting action movies. Make it an hour 20. Make it an hour 30. We don't need the extra 30 minutes of dialogue in a movie where it just doesn't matter. But that's nitpicking. I love the UFC flashbacks showing the octagon. They had Bruce Buffer, the UFC announcer. He's incredible. Yeah. Had Conor McGregor. He's epic. They have Jake, and he's got tons of good movies, especially in the kind of like crime genre or whatever, that type of stuff Jake does. It has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. I feel that's a little rough. I gave it a 9 out of 10, Gaz. I'm an MMA fanboy. I'm a Conor McGregor fanboy, so I'm a biased opinion.
Well, yeah, so I'm a fan, but just because he's in it doesn't mean I'm going to give it a higher score.
I agree.
I have to give it a 6, no more. And any more than that would know this, and that's based on because I watch martial arts movies all the time from all over. So I can't give this a higher score when I see much better movies from that genre, and that's taking nothing away from Conor and Jake. Based on that reason, I'm going to shout some of those new movies that are dropping soon, which people may be interested in us covering.
Yeah, we got stuff coming up, guys. We're gonna work on the backlog, like we said. We're looking to get the Crow new reboot reaction soon, possibly tomorrow, guys, if you're around back. And then, of course, we want to do the Crow OG. We want to do possibly Roadhouse OG with Lauren. We want to do the Boy Kills World is coming up. Remember, I sent you guys that trailer that's dropping next month, guys, as well as Monkey Man. Both vigilante revenge films. We want to try to get both of those on the channel real quick. Let's see. Raised in Wisconsin and uncles and cousins Marines. So I feel you. You got some bloodlust, Pixie. You fit right into our vigilante channel. Go ahead, boys.
Anyway, my score on this one would have to be 7.5. Like I said, it's decent, but it ain't as entertaining as the first, obviously, but I got what I want out of it. You know what I mean? Decent action. I got just pretty much like Conor McGregor, obviously,
entertaining.
Entertaining, exactly. And just basically anything that you expect out of brutal beat 'em up, type movies like this. This is definitely something that gave me Scott Adkins vibes. But it didn't quite reach there.
I know what you mean.
Not as technical with the Scott Adkins choreography and kicks but
not bad effort though. It's not terrible,
Yeah, exactly. It's not terrible. Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty deep. Heck, I'll say it like this: there's a lot of remakes out there that are just total crap.
Yeah,
I watch Point Break remake, so I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he's practically an expert if you watch the Point Break remake. And real quick, I do want to say, rated R, in my opinion, Doug, this is a better Doug Liman movie for me because, like I said, I respect what they did in the Bourne Identity stuff, but like this is R-rated. This has Conor. Obviously, they had Conor helping with the fight choreography. So, Mac, when you were talking about like the reactions of when dude gets hit, a lot of that was Conor showing Jake like, hey, when you get hit like this, your head tweaks like this. So you got that realistic Conor MMA approach, which I don't.
And that's what I love. Why Conor
that
needs to be in this movie to show how the choreography needs to be.
Because he's not going to be. He doesn't want the UFC fans. He's not going to tread on the UFC fans. Like, hey, we're going to do this CGI fruity thing. One final point. So we just rated Greg. You can run back. I gave it a 9. Mac was a 7.5. Gaz was a 6. So you could average us out to maybe whatever 7, 8 or whatever. Final thing about the whole not going to theaters, internet release, streaming controversy. You guys can check out the scenes online if you haven't seen the movie. If you want, I'll post a couple of them in the description. They've released like 3 or 4 scenes on the Amazon Prime channel. I just want to get you guys' reaction to that because like my opinion on that is like the day it comes out, they release like 4, 5 or 6 minute scenes, and at that point, that's like a fifth of the movie, right? So it's like I don't know. I understand it because you got Conor and you need the viral clicks and the likes, but for me, it's like a little bit like spoilery because like, man, if you haven't seen the movie at all and you're just cruising on YouTube or you're a Conor fan or something, and you come across 3 or 4 of those scenes, it kind of ruins it for you, in my opinion. But like, what do you guys think about like dropping all those scenes same day as film release?
Well, I have a bit of. Sadly, I haven't really seen much of the world for the last month. This is like my first time back because I've been locked in that bubble whilst doing that course.
However, coming out of his cave, like in
pretty much. I would have loved last night if I could have seen this at the theater rather than sitting through Godzilla Kong Empire, which was complete whackness. So I think it should have. I think for the legacy and the history behind it, I think it should have gone to the theater, even if they did a limited run, like a week or 2 weeks.
I would have liked to catch it in the theater. I agree with Gaz. But as far as dropping those YouTube scenes, guys, like, do you have like a stance on that, or you kind of like, well, whatever, I've already seen the movie, so I don't care if they leak a bunch of scenes?
No, I
it's spoilery, right?
Yeah, they should have kept them back because then you could pretty much anticipate what most of the movie's going to involve then, though. So should have kept them back.
They released like that ending fight, Mac, like with the speedboat. Like that was the best part in the movie. I was like, why would you leak that to YouTube? But like, what do you think, Mac, as far as like leaking scenes on YouTube? Like I know they've been going on for a while, but
I mean, I get it, because they want to show key scenes that made the movie entertaining, but same time, you can't really leak all, the whole scene there, then you're just pretty much taking away, the greatness of the movie. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Might as well.
That's how I felt.
Yeah. So it's like, you gotta like, people out there, man, you can watch these scenes and all that stuff, but it's like, yo, I think they need to do a better job on like how to edit these scenes and integrate all that into like making it entertaining, but at the same time not giving out too much.
That's how I feel.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
yeah.
I feel.
So,
Mac, I couldn't even have articulated that better than Mac, because I was just wondering if you guys had the same opinion as me. Like, think about it. There's already 3 or 4 trailers that drop. You already see a lot from that. I'm cool with like 1 or 2 scenes. Like, I remember how they released that first 5 minutes of Dark Knight back in the day, guys. It was like that. I think Nolan was the first one to do it. Then it became like this big trend. That was 2008, wasn't it? And I don't even think I watched that. I think I did watch it at some point, but it was maybe like way later or after the movie, because I was like, I don't want to see the first 5 minutes of Dark Knight. I don't want to ruin it for me. But now, and I get this is a streaming movie, Amazon Prime, but dude, they released like 3, 4 scenes. That slap fight with the bikers, they released that, and then it's like, okay, now you've seen like 3 or 4 or 5 of the biggest fights in the movie, so what's keeping you from going on to Prime and watching it now? You know, you probably just, if you're just like, okay, I just want to see the Conor fights to see how they look, well, you probably already saw it now. So you're still gonna watch the movie. But that's basically all we got. Anything else you got? Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to for Mac's shirt.
There's something I've just discovered which you've got to shout out.
Get it off your chest.
Right, guys, listen to this. Greg, this will be of interest to you. I literally only just heard about this as we've just done this review. So there's a movie dropping. Comes out in May, The Last Kumatai. Listen to this. It features Scott Adkins, Matthias Landwehr, Cynthia Rothrock, Matthias Hughes, Billy Blanks, Tong Po, Michael Kissino, who plays Tong Po, in the OG Kickboxer, Bolo Young, David Young. Apparently that drops soon. That is something I think we've got to cover. It looks dope. And there is Asian action movie 1% Warrior due out, and then a Yakuza martial arts gangster movie called Bad City, and of course Jean-Claude's movie Darkness of Man. All of those look pretty interesting. We've got to get on them. So yeah, but Greg, look up that Last Kumite. I've literally just found out about it, and when I saw the lineup, I thought, man, that's good. I'm going to get it to guys after we're done today about that.
I heard about the next Kickboxer as well. I heard it's like Jean-Claude Atkins. I think some other. I don't know if it's. I know there's a movie with Atkins and Eco. I don't know if that's the same movie. Of course, we'll do the backlog as we mentioned to you guys. The Crow, Roadhouse OG. I forgot what else. The Crow trailer reaction. Then of course the upcoming new vigilante movies, Monkey Man.
Yeah.
Rated R, go to advanced screening next week, so hopefully if you can catch a boot or something, Mac, we'll get you on that. And then Boy Kills World. I want Bill Skarsgård to get his shine before that Crow turd drops, and then we're gonna have to toast him on that. I'm afraid the Crow 2024 is going to be a roast, guys. We haven't done a roast in a while. Trust me, they're coming back. That's all we got. Got a bunch of new vigilante stuff coming back to the channel. Of course, the Zodiac show is coming soon. I'll be back on with another Zodiac interview next week, so you guys don't need to melt down on me. And C-Files episode 4 coming soon. Who else? A new Jean-Claude movie? Yeah, there's Darkness of Man and some other ones. Oh, bro, don't get me started, Greg. You want to see Triggered, dude? We're gonna try to do the trailer reaction tomorrow, so I'm gonna melt down on that. And that's only going to be like 10% of my meltdown is when we do the roast.
Hey, yo, Greg, we're already triggered by it, man. So
I was triggered when they announced it. I've been updating these guys for months. That is the most tread on Brandon Lee. We're out. Shout out to everybody. Greg, I was shouting out you and Rick earlier because Rick was here. Check out the Civil War trailer. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, that looks tight. I'm
going to send that to you guys. It looks like a Gray State-esque concept, so I'm going to send that to you guys. You and Rick are welcome to join us, Greg. The Crow, no. The Crow, no.
Just going to give a quick shout out. The content on Moshinobi will be back soon. I've literally been on an intense course for the last month, so this is my first time back, as I said, doing anything. So myself, Ross, Mac, whatever, will be on there with stuff as it happens. Whenever.
Yeah, no, it'll happen more frequently, as well as the game streams on PXG on Twitter. Go check out the Patreon. I finally did the first post about all the Most Dangerous Game adaptations that I was talking about earlier relating to my Zodiac research. I also post that in the I post some of it free in the community tab, but I also post some of it for members only in the community tab. And if I find the actual films I'm talking about free on YouTube, I link those there as well. So those are all like the Most Dangerous Game, Bloodlust, Run for the Sun. Actually, you know what else is one, Max? Surviving the Game. That's a Most Dangerous Game remake. Actually, Hard Target is a Most Dangerous Game adaptation.
Yeah. Hard Target 2 as well.
Those are all adaptations of the Most Dangerous Game, bro. Those are all. So yeah. Anyway, it relates to Zodiac all the way to what we do over here with Vigilante Revenge, which is hilarious. So yeah, go check out my Patreon. You can join there. You can get the membership below. That's basically it. Like, sub, share. We're going to be back full swing next week, guys. Zodiac Files interviews. Probably have my boy Mike Rodelli back on with a special guest relating from the Zodiac world. And C-Files episode 4 coming soon. What's Mac and Mosh channels to follow? Gaz's is Mosh Shinobi. We'll have it linked below in the description. Mac is working on his. It's going to be Mad Mac the movie critic, but it's coming soon.
But we all pretty much have access to the Mosh Shinobi channel as well, Greg. So, you know, Ross can be on there with anything anytime I can, Matt can. I've got to redo the description a bit, but it all falls under the umbrella. Whatever works over there, we do over there. If not, it goes on here.
I'm on the platform.
Yeah.
X. But anyway, donations on PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Join membership below. Check out the Patreon. We'll have the Patreon in the description. That's it. Conor McGregor, Jake Gyllenhaal of Zodiac, Roadhouse 2024. Rest in peace, Patrick Swayze. I don't think there's anything else. PRS Paradigm Review Show. Like, sub, share. Keep it locked. Hopefully my audio was good. Greg, how did my audio sound? Was it decent? People are always saying it's super. I can't figure out the StreamYard thing, Gaz. Like, I already turned off the thing to give it control of, like you were saying, about how it takes control of the microphone. I disabled that. So I don't know what else to do here, guys. All my 20 years of IT industry knowledge is apparently not holding up. And
man, I thought I was the only one with audio issues, man.
No, man. It's
that's loud. That's back to
that's loud. All right, hold on. Let me try. Yeah. Let me.
Whoa,
just
man.
Nothing like.
I saw Gaz's reaction. He's like, whoa.
Better or still loud? Now it's still loud, right? Now it's
no, that's all right.
Normal now. It's not. Yes, it was all the way low. I don't get it. Anyway, thank you, StreamYard. Anyway, we'll see if we get free streaming or another alternative for that. Only Roadhouse is Swayze Roadhouse. She's in the Lauren camp. I respect it. Only Point Break is Swayze Point Break, so it makes sense. All right, guys, we're out. Like, sub, share. Check out the Patreon. Join memberships below. We out. Greg and Rick, I'm gonna send you guys that Civil War trailer. We'll be back. We're looking at maybe. What were we saying? Crow OG next week, unless you guys. But if you get Monkey Man streamed, Mac, we might do that. So
yeah.
Roadhouse, go check it out on Amazon Prime. Conor McGregor coming back to the UFC Octagon in June. We out. PRS Paradigm Review Show. Like, sub, share. Subscribe to Mosh Shinobi.